Of course, if you're I actually saw the Halloween movie as a teenager. I saw it in 1978 when it came out. I was 16 years old, scared the bejesus belt out of me. I remember my mother took all of us kids, who were all elderly teenagers, at the behest of my oldest sister, who encouraged us. Oh, I heard it was really good. That night, we all slept in the same bed with our mother. We were so terrified of Michael Myers of The Shape coming to get us. So, let's pick up where we left off here and just talk a little bit about this. This is one of these films, and I don't think it's appreciated enough for it. You know, if you look carefully as you're watching Halloween, this is supposed to happen in Haddonfield, Illinois. Well, why are there palm trees at the end of the street? Look carefully. When Laurie Strode is walking down the street, you look into this and go like, that's a palm tree. Well, because they filmed it in L.A. Okay, here we go. Taken with Dr. Loomis's pronouncements of the shape's inhuman nature. Wait a minute, I left. To understand this film, it is necessary to understand its monsters. Or its monster. The thing in Halloween is usually referred to as Michael Myers, the name of the young boy in the opening. However, that's not how Nick Castle is credited. He's listed as playing the Shape. That's just it, the Shape. What is a shape? It's a form without matter. A circle has the same nature, whether rendered in wood, ink, smoke, or mathematical notation. Thus, the shape in Halloween is some form or reality that can materialize in many different ways, but always with the same nature. Taken with Dr. Loomis's pronouncements of the shape's inhuman nature, and especially with his final exchange with Strode, it was the boogeyman, she says, and he replies, as a matter of fact, it was. The implication is that the shape is in fact a supernatural manifestation of evil. It isn't Myers. He is only the material the shape uses to give itself substance. This is why it always wears a mask, to the point that when Laurie briefly tears it off, the shape pauses its assault to redon the mask. Now, there's so much going on here. This is basically a possession. At the end of the day, the body is being possessed by a demon that wants to kill humans. So that's what's going on here, which is why, if you follow the canon of Halloween, is why he can never be killed, because he's not a man. Even when they burn him to death, he finds a way to come back. The shape needs a disguise to give itself substance. It needs a mask of some sort. Even Myers himself is the shape's mask. This, of course, explains everything. The shape cannot be killed because it's not a person, but a supernatural entity. This is the same reason it has inhuman strength. He strangles a German shepherd. He kills a dog, right, with his bare hands, and some power over its environment because it seems to be able to lock and unlock doors from a distance. It also explains the shape's eerily unnatural behavior. Not just its senseless murders, but the way it simply does strange things at times, such as when it appears in front of Linda wearing a ghost costume and then just stands there. Or when, after dispatching another victim, it pauses and thoughtfully tilts its head back and forth as though studying its handwork. It pulls a really good Buckshot. Buckshot does this all the time. Hey, Buckshot, and he look at you like, do you want to go for a walk? He'll do that. Well, but Buckshot's not a shape. Are you, little Buckshot? Is he hearing me calling his name? He's in the other room. It's a good thing because he'd be in here squeezing a squeaky ball and ruining the broadcast. Likewise, there doesn't seem to be any point to much of its behavior. For example, why the tableau with Annie's body and Judith Myers' gravestone? Now, this is the sister he kills in the opening scene. Or for that matter, why is it still targeting Laurie Strode at all? The shape, whatever its nature, is operating on a clearly alien mentality to anything we, the audience, can understand. It isn't human. None of this is explicitly spelled out in the film, but the implications are all there, particularly if you pay attention to Donald Pleasant's, the Dr. Loomis's dialogue. The shape represents evil itself, or at least the potential for evil that lurks in every community. This brings us to Haddonfield and its inhabitants. A large part of the power of Halloween comes from how persuasively ordinary the setting and the characters are. Haddonfield is a kind of quiet, peaceful little town where just about everyone knows everyone. Kids walk to school unsupervised. Teenagers get jobs babysitting their neighbors' children. Likewise, Laurie Strode and her two friends are presented as perfectly normal teenagers, possibly the most convincing such ever to appear in a horror film. Like in the beginning of the movie, you don't know when Jamie Lee Curtis has that sweater on and she's walking down the street, she's swinging her books that she's humming, and then you see the shape appear from out behind the bushes. You don't have any idea, if you watched the film for the first time, what's actually going to happen. Laurie is more shy and studious than her two friends, but she envies rather than disapproves of their behavior. And they, in turn, don't tease her for her reticence and try to help her break out of her shell. Laurie is smart and responsible with a great relationship with her young charge, Tommy, but not above sharing a joint with Linda on her way to a babysitting job. In other words, she's a normal person, a good kid, but not idealized. This is exactly where the horror lies, though, here, folks. Laurie's a perfectly decent, ordinary teenage kid of the kind you would meet in any school in any town in America, and she ends up the target of an unthinkably evil force, and for no other reason than that she happened to cross his path. There is a queasily real-world quality to much of the very early stages of Laurie's ordeal. The shape follows her around town, silently watching her. It doesn't do anything, but its behavior is clearly not normal. It's not enough to make Laurie feel threatened. She just kind of feels uneasy, like, dude, what did I just see some goon in a dark green pantsuit or what do they call them, overalls with a stupid white William Shatner mask on, clocking me, mean mugging me? Yeah, you did. Many people have experienced such a feeling at some point when they encounter someone who doesn't quite follow the social script, who steps over the line, but not too far. When you feel in danger, but not enough to really be scared, to make you break from routine, just enough to wonder. Laurie's understandable response is to try desperately to ignore it all, to tell herself that she's imagining things or overreacting. Haddonfield is a peaceful, friendly little town, and Laurie is a nice, normal kid. These sorts of things don't happen to people like her. But of course, that is precisely to whom they do happen. What's the old saying? Bad things happen to good people? Well, here you go. That's the premise of Halloween. And therein lies the horror. We want very much to think that we live in a safe, nice, civilized world where we can safely go about our lives and where that sort of thing will never happen to us. They ain't gonna happen to me, Brian. But however safe and nice and civilized the world around us, it retains the potential for evil and hence for that sort of thing. This is why Kamala Harris is the shape. She manifests herself in all forms, in all times, no matter where she's at, as the advocate and the promoter and defender of just the most diabolically evil and sinister things. Mutilating the body parts of children, that's evil. Having children pursue courses of action that are going to lead them to mortally sinful behavior into hell, but assuring them it's okay, no, go ahead and do that. Sin like you mean it. Sin boldly, like Luther said. But don't worry, here's this little pill. Well, the pill is not going to get you to heaven. As a matter of fact, the pill's going to double down on your sin. Who does this? That's why I call her the shape. As the chatty cemetery keeps telling Dr. Loomis, every town has something like this happen. Every community has some inexplicable evil in its history, or will at some point. We today are familiar with this. Names like Aurora, Parkland, Sandy Hook were once unknown except to those who had lived there. The nightly news brings us daily accounts of other nightmarish outrages, often flaring up in quiet, peaceful little towns where it seemed nothing terrible could happen. Yet, like Dr. Loomis's colleagues and the people of Haddonfield, we still don't quite understand what we're dealing with here. We futilely grasp at sensible solutions. We need more mental health research. Yeah, that'll fix it. We need more and better gun control laws. Yeah, that'll do it. We need a more rational foreign policy so as not to provoke terrorism. We need economic reform so that people won't be driven to crime. We need to teach men not to rape and own and own and own. Whether any of these things are actually needed is not the point. The point is that we are deluding ourselves. Nothing we do here on earth will eliminate evil from our midst. Evil is not a matter of a lack of education or economic desperation or bad laws or cultural norms or mental health. Evil, like love, is a choice. The choice to put the self first. By the way, you usual suspect cynics out there that see certain boogeymen and hobgoblins behind every tree, they're not behind every tree. They are there. And you better get used to it. As was said long ago, it's not what comes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out of him. Greed, lust, pride, irreverence, anger, hatred, and so on. All Kamala's traits, by the way. That is why even in the safest, friendliest, most peaceful place on earth, you can still find evil. The point of Halloween, then, is that there is no point. The shape doesn't have any larger agenda or recognizably human motivation. It's a really profound point about that movie. You go like, I think we have a demon in the room. Did you hear it? It just growled. Hey, I'm not going to call him Buckshot. If he keeps growling, I'm going to call him Buck Shape. Hey, Buck Shape. The shape doesn't have a larger agenda or recognizably human motivation. No trauma in its past, no failure of education. It is simply and purely evil. You can't counsel it, medicate it, heal it, or kill it. This really is the lesson for us. When people seem to be evil, they probably are. When someone perpetrates a crime like pederasty or rape or whatever, if there's no reforming those people, lock them away or do them a favor, sentence them to die, get them a priest, give them a chance to confess and get right with God, and then carry out the execution, if it's legal. He concludes, such is the case with all human evil. You can't kill evil or remove it from society. All you can do is be aware of it. Recognize it for what it is and do your best to keep it at bay. And so that's David Breitenbeck's piece at the Federalist.com from 2018. He is a writer and Catholic traditionalist living and working in Southeast Michigan. I choose this piece every year, and we read it every year, and I like to just share it with the audience. To just remember, you are the answer to the shape. If you leave the battlefield, whether it's an election year or not, if you just throw your hands up and everything is wrong and everything is rotten and I'm not going to participate because I'm going to lose anyway and evil's going to win, there is no assurance or guarantee that evil ever wins. Someone famous was quoted, but it's not Edmund Burke. No one knows who actually said it, but all that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. I think that's pretty accurate. When you declare that I'm not getting involved in society and in public life and in debates and stuff, and I'm just going to build my moat around my little enclave here and exist as a hermit and all that, you've just removed yourself from the battle. Well, of course the enemy is going to win. He's going to gain more ground. So what's the answer? Well, the answer is stand your ground. And if ground has been consecrated for Christ and it's not any longer, try to gain it back. But don't give up. Shapes can't triumph where good men are. And remember, the story of martyrs, martyrs die. That's not supposed to be a happy ending. But the story of a true martyr for Christ is a happy ending. They get the palm, the crown of holiness. They get a halo at the end. So this Halloween, it's All Hallows Eve. It's perfectly fine for your children to dress up and enjoy the day. Yeah, it's a vigil day for the adults. Skip a meal. Maybe you skip breakfast. Okay, you're good to go. Tomorrow is a big feast day. We'll see you for All Saints Day. And as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel right here on YouTube. Just click the bell button there. Give us the thumbs up. We're going to separate this out as a special, separate video. And I hope you'll share it with friends and family. Have a safe and blessed remainder of your All Hallows Eve day. We'll see you tomorrow for All Saints Day. Until then, stay clear of the shape. God bless you. And most of all, because he doesn't like her, Mary keep you.